The weight of this silence is too much for me. People need to tell their truth about their pain. Smiles on screen doesn't mean someone is okay on the inside. I didn't come up with that, guys. It came from someone that was dear to me while I worked with them, and his name was Philip McKeon. He played the son on Alice, Linda Lavin's Alice on television, the sitcom, for maybe 10 years. And those were words that he wrote on his deathbed. He wrote a deathbed letter that was not even released until after he died. Again, the weight of this silence is too much. People need to tell their truth about their pain. Smiles on screen doesn't mean someone is okay on the inside. Guys, this is what my book is about, okay? You don't have to be R-A-P-E-D like I was in order to be a slaughtered prince. These people are no longer around. I am, for however long. Yes, I'm in a bit of a mood today. Please forgive me. But we're addressing the subject of my book and the subject of this channel, this show, station, as I like to call it, was birthed from my book. And the message behind my book, if you can even call it that, I like to call it a movement, about slaughter princes in West Hollywood, music industry. Like I said, you don't have to be R-A-P-E-D multiple times in order to be a slaughter prince, and you don't have to be in the film industry. One of my R-A-P-I-S-T's was in the music industry. Wow. So like I said, you're a slaughter prince, whether it's West Hollywood, Hollywood, in the music industry, in the film industry. That's the deal. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Philip McKeon, Slaughtered Prince. So I watched this documentary, and it was really very, very difficult for me to see, because I did not know Philip's story after us, after I worked with him. I don't follow, celebrities like Afterlife. I don't know, always what they went on to do. Even Casey Martell that I worked with in ET, I didn't know he went into finance consulting and all kinds of other interesting business ventures or projects in his industry. That I found out like way after the fact. That's Casey, right? We did ET together. I didn't know. I mean, I know most of the actors on ET, do cons, but other people I've worked with, I don't know. Tom Hanks, who fired me for being too effeminate, according to my agent, on Bosom Buddies. Of course I know that he became Tom Hanks, but what happened to the Slaughtered Princes, So I watched this documentary, and I watched how tortured this man was. Even though he was on Alice for like 10 years, he couldn't get arrested after Alice because he was typecast. Typecasting. Why did Sean go on from being the pretty boy in E.T. after an illustrious career as a child actor to become everyone's punk boyfriend, or DRUG, dealer, or felon, or, I mean, what? Spinal Tap, look at any of them. So, whatever, okay, but he couldn't get arrested after E.T., I'm sorry, Philip, you were not in E.T., I wouldn't, anyway. So he went on to be a director, worked in production, worked ground up type of thing. Had a lot of experience in production, working on Alice, of course. So why not? It was a natural progression for the most part, and he was relatively successful, according to this documentary. I did know he went on to be a director. I mean, that much I knew. I think I read it in some something or other. I didn't know producer. I didn't know how or when. I haven't IMDb'd him since the documentary. I don't know. I only go on what I know. Doesn't mean I'm ill-informed, but it's just that my shows are, filtered through these glasses, right? Okay, there you go. And hey, give me the lie detector test. I don't care. Everything I say is true. Everything in my book is true. Everything, why waste my time? What am I like? Oh yeah, I'm gonna what did somebody say? spinning my yarn, whatever. Okay, this is about RAPE. Okay, you get that? And this is about you don't have to have been. Look at George Michael. That's the music industry. I consider him a slaughtered prince. Interesting, right? It's not just about being closeted. Okay, it is a machine that eats you up and spits you out because you are no longer useful. We are all expendable in this world to some degree or another. I've had plenty of civilian jobs where I felt totally expendable, easy to get rid of. But in the film industry, when you're raised, corn fed on this kind of stuff, this relevance, constantly needing to be relevant, pushing him out there onto Tiger Beat, and what were all of these teen magazines just plastered with kids his age that would absolutely, I mean, honest to God, they would be considered porno nowadays. These teen magazines, clad in next to nothing, centerfolds, and everyone gets farmed out to that once they're famous enough. My run was in the late 70s, from roughly 11 to 13 was my peak. I worked all the time in television, in commercials, constantly. Then I do ET. I'm whatever you all want to consider me in ET, and then I'm the felon, and then I can't get arrested, and then I quit the industry. So I'm not the only slaughter prince. I'm not out here to get out the violins for all of us, least of all me. I'm still alive, and I'm gonna haunt y'all until I'm not alive, until I'm unlived or not alive. I don't anticipate to be unlived by anybody, although who knows? Anyway, so I worked with Philip on Alice. Philip was, you have a gaydar that's like early in development when you're a kid. So, it's not like you're going around like with the gaydar that you may have right now, but something's going on. There's some circuitry going on that you don't quite, it's a mix between having a crush and being seen, and, some magical mix of weirdness that goes on between two slaughter princes, like it did on Alice. I played his best friend, Roger. Roger was referenced throughout the series, but never seen. And so I was Roger. So here I am arriving on the set. We have school, of course, set school together. We're both minors. I'm at this point, I think 12, he's 13, something like that. Roger's on the scene, whatever. And so we're working together, and we're in school together, just he and I, of course, and no other minors on the set, just us. And wait till I tell you how that ended up, my scene. There's this fascination that Philip develops for me, because at the time, Mikhail Baryshnikov from wherever, Russia, who was hugely popular in '79. I mean, oh my God, he was everything to everybody. He was in movies. He was, I don't know which ballet, the American Ballet Company? Anyway, so he was huge. He was touring. He was in movies, right? So I was obsessed, little gay boy. Yes, I was married for 5 years. Yes, I had girlfriends in high school. Yes, I had affairs with leading ladies. Yes. Okay, but forget all that. I was gay as a blade and whatever. Let's just talk about that some other time. That's not who I was. Go figure. Well, okay. So anyway, me and Philip, or Philip and I should say, have this weird, tingling. Well, with him, it was the eye contact, lingering eye contact. That's often what it is. An eye contact that lasts a fraction of a second too long, and it's like, gaydar goes off. It was not that way with Philip, but I'm just saying, it can be a look, it can be a whatever. In his case, it was also a gesture. So he is obsessed with the fact that I am really into Mikhail Baryshnikov. Okay, he's so obsessed. He just cannot wrap his mind around the idea that a 12-year-old would be so interested in a ballet dancer. And I don't know why it was like a huge deal to him. No, I mean, I don't mind, but I I kind of maybe afterwards kind of figured out soon afterwards that the gaydar went off. And we don't have names for that at 12, but it went off nevertheless. And so he decides that he's so obsessed with the fact that I am really into Barishnikov, that he has to tell everybody on the set. Like he's literally wants to drag me around telling everybody this. But interesting, Philip doesn't snatch on me and pull me out of some schoolroom. Philip offers his hand to me. Okay, you'd think he would just snatch on me or pull me out of the room or whatever you'd think. I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't think that. But he outstretches that hand to me. And yes, he's yanking me all of the set, but then he outstretches that hand to me again. Think about it. Just imagine that for a second. And so he's yanking me over here and yanking me over there, telling everybody. And he's literally saying, can you believe? Can you believe? Like I was some oddity, like some sideshow freak, you know? I mean, perfectly well intended, and he's a love. I mean, I felt an affection from him when he took my hand, when he looked me in the eye for that fraction of a second too long, which is sometimes a message. It's almost Morse code to some of us, whoever us is. Solar pinches for sure. There we go. That's the us. And so, okay, there's that obsession, dragging me around, because it's a whole week, as everyone knows. You start with the table read, you do the blocking, rehearsal, dress rehearsal, taping, and everything. Stretches throughout the week. And then I start doing imitations, like impersonations of folks on the set, like, you know, people's characters, Vic Tayback, and especially Polly Holiday, who played Flo. It was a huge thing in I don't know, 79, 80, to say "kiss my grits" as some harmless, I don't know, whatever. But it was like this huge catchphrase, like what was Fonzie's? I don't know, sit on it or something, whatever it was. So that was big. It was really big. So part of my impersonations of the actors on the set involved Polly Holiday's Flo saying "kiss my grits." And so, shoulder out of the socket again, I'm being yanked around the set to do these impersonations for the actor. And then I get yanked over to Polly Holiday. Poor thing's having her makeup put on with that red wig. She looked nothing like that in real life, by the way. Nothing. No way. Well, you just have to see one of her other movies. And she was a doll. She was a love. I mean, she made me repeat it and all of that. But there was this odd, not uncomfortable, but oddness to this bringing me around, yanking me around and being in such awe that I would, and I don't, it took me years to think on that. And I think I've thought on that enough. So do the math. Anyway, interesting side note, or end note, I should say, since we've gone over, I'm very sorry, is that, and I guess maybe a lighthearted note, it was for Philip and I, because Philip and I couldn't believe this made it into the script. Of course, you have your script, you know what you're going to do, and we're together all day long for at least a week. And we really couldn't believe that this made it into the script. And I had a weird, I don't want to say I had a weird feeling it was going to be cut out or whatever, but it was just odd, and I'll tell you in a second. So there's this like psychobabbly game that the whole staff goes to Alice Lavin's apartment to do with each other. They're supposed to get along better. So it's like I said, some psychotherapy, party game. And you put bags on each one of your heads, and it's drawn a face like Flo or drawn a face like Linda Lavin's character, and you interact with that person as if they're that person or you're that person. But it goes haywire, as those things often do. And I mean, how could you think that would work? And everyone's telling everyone off, and how could you, like, what? And I don't act like that, and whatever. So they all have their bags on their heads, and they're sitting in the living room, like 5 of them, with bags on their heads. And I walk in, cue us, Philip and I, finally, and I walk in, and I go, I'll have to use the initials, because I don't know if it'll get bleeped, but y'all know what I'm talking about, with white robes and scary people. Okay, there you go. blank, blank, blank. Got it, got it. So I walk in to the living room, being yanked in by, as usual, by Philip, and I see all these people with bags on their heads. And I say, what is this? The Phoenix chapter of the blank, blank, blank? You know, hoods on the heads. I mean, bags on the heads. And ha 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 ha, and I had a couple other lines, and Philip ha ha ha, and he had a line, and then we go to his room, and that's it. Done, finished. All my Alice story done. Cut to the air date, right? So my dad, like, you know, Einstein, brings me to this adult party as always. I mean, you know, like adults, like always at some cocktail party with like, oh, nothing but adults. And he decides it's a genius idea for everyone to sit down and watch my, you know, debut on Alice as Roger, the friend that's never seen. And it comes and it comes and it comes and it goes. And it comes and it goes. And the bag scene comes and it goes. And guess what? Sean was cut out. So I can't really say I was on Alice, although it's somewhere on some resume, probably somewhere, because Sean was cut out. Why? Because finally somebody at the last minute from the censor board or whatever decided Philip and I were right, that this should never have been in the script to begin with, that it was raucous, that it was, I mean, even then, you know, it's like 79, we're going into 80 or whatever, 78, whatever. Come on, you know, I don't even know they'd say that word on All in the Family or some of these other racy shows from the 70s. So it comes and goes, and I don't know what to say, and he doesn't know what to say, and finally I somehow tell him, it's out, Papa, it's gone. And then there's this like awkward lull, and people sort of meander out of the living room. It's just, oh my God. So that's my Alice story. I know I went far afield there for a moment, but that was it, okay? And we wrapped up, and we finished on a wonderful note. There was no hugging, there was no, you know, hanky-panky feelings or anything. It was just one slaughtered prince to another, right? With the code, right? And then the weight of silence is too much for me. People need to tell their truth about their pain. Smiles on screen doesn't mean someone is okay on the inside. Guys, he had to write that on his deathbed. He had to wait until he was dying to write that letter about telling your truth, speaking your truth about the pain on the inside. So, that's my book. And that's my Alice story, and that's my Philip McKeon story. And we are way over. I'm so sorry. I'm going to keep this under 20 minutes because it's ridiculous. You know, you hang with this story for 18 minutes, good God. But I don't know how I could have fit it in. I don't know that this was meant to be fit into 10 minutes. So it wasn't. It took me 18 minutes to tell you this story. So the book's coming out. You'll understand much more about me at these stories. It's not a graphic book, but it's a very impactful book. It's about emotional impact of these slaughtered princes, of the Philip McKeons that are no longer around. And I'm not going to be around forever. I'm going to be 59 this year, and I am not going down, okay, without this book in people's faces, or in front of their eyes, shall we say. I'm not going gently into that good night, okay? So get used to it. Anyway, I told you I was in a bit of a mood. I'll let you go. We're just shy of 20 minutes. I can't, anyone that survived this deserves a medal, this episode. So we got stuff. I got an interview or two planned through Monday, and I got Saturday. Don't forget, Saturday is Diana Ross, Diana. Nothing but A to Z Diana, who I kind of knew, sorta, not really. Anyway, okay, everyone, I'll let you go. Thanks for thanks for sticking with me all the time, especially shows like this. Okay, take care. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Bye.